Welcome to EDU World Space.
6. Essentially announces his past support for protectionism. The U.S. trade deficit must be reduced, but imports only annoy our trading partners. If we subsidize U.S. exports instead, we can reduce the deficit by increasing our competitiveness. So use the three-panel diagram, which is already shown here, and show the effect of an export subsidy. So now we have this export subsidy. So show the effect of this export subsidy on net exports and the real exchange rate. So actually we only need the graph on the bottom right here. So since there is a subsidy on export, the net export rises. So this whole demand curve on the foreign currency market shifts to the right. So I'll use color red here. So it shifts to the right. So we have this new equilibrium here, which means that the real exchange rate increase. Okay, so simple as that, we already answered the question. But another question is that, do you agree with the senator? So actually what the senator says is not very true, because he said that if we subsidize US export, which is what I just drew here, we can reduce the deficit by increasing our competitiveness. So actually, the deficit does not change because we only increase the exchange rate, and the net export is in the same level, because what determines the equilibrium is the net capital outflow. So since the net capital outflow does not change, we have the same value of net export. So if we look at both either this graph or this graph, their supply and demand curve doesn't shift anywhere. So this is not going to decrease our deficit. And what the senator said in the previous part is that the import quota is annoying. But what the import quota does is actually the same as subsidizing export. Why is that? Because we know that net export equals to export minus import. So now we say that, okay, if we subsidize export, this whole term on the right hand side increase. So this is the same as put a quota on import, because if we put a quota on import, we say that the import is decreasing. So this whole term on the right hand side is still increasing. So the two policy actually have the same effect. So what the senator said is not very justified, because he's not considering this graph in his mind.